You haven't subscribed to the channel yet? Subscribe now. We have new stories every day. Now let's go. When the threads of a marriage start unraveling, it can lead to unexpected discoveries. Today, I'll share my journey of navigating a crumbling relationship, uncovering infidelity, and finding solace in the midst of emotional turmoil. I'm Andrew, a married man with 2 kids, ages 15 and 12. My wife, Megan, 41F, has been cheating on me for the last 14 to 15 months. It started when she joined her new workplace and met Brian, 43M, who trained her at her job. I met him a few times when I went to pick her up. Initially, he seemed like a decent enough guy. There was nothing suspicious about their friendship at first. Over time, I noticed changes. At work, she and Brian would have lunch together, normal enough, but then she began having dinner with him too. Her excuses were always something like, "We were working late and got hungry," or "The whole team went out to try this new pizza place and I couldn't just ditch them." Yet Brian's presence at these dinners was constant. It reached a point where my children and I would wait at home for Megan to join us for dinner, only to find out she'd already eaten outside. We tried everything, confronting her, complaining, even giving her the cold shoulder, but she didn't seem to care. At first, I didn't suspect an affair, but when none of our complaints mattered to her, I realized the truth. I even tried having an honest conversation with Megan about whether she'd fallen out of love, but she just dismissed it, calling me paranoid. Her words were reassuring, but her actions were not. I tried to find evidence. I attempted to snoop through her phone, managed to check a few messages, but found nothing explicit. Maybe she deleted the incriminating texts. Her phone and apps were all locked with different passcodes. It was impossible for me to get hard evidence. I know some people hire private investigators, place trackers, and so on. But after 17 years of marriage, the idea of hiring a PI seemed outrageous. Eventually, I gave up trying to prove it. I moved on with my life, focusing on my children and friends. Megan surely noticed my changing attitude, but she said nothing. She seemed fine with the distance growing between us. As the weeks went by, I spent more time outside the home, sometimes staying out late and crashing at a friend's place. It got to a point where we were basically just co-parenting. My kids noticed. About a month later, they began asking if we were getting divorced. I tried to dodge their questions, but they pushed hard, and eventually I told them that no matter what happens, they are loved and cared for. My youngest quickly said he'd choose to stay with me if it came to that. That hit me hard. Maybe it was time to face the consequences and make a decision. I knew Megan was cheating, and instead of ending the marriage, I was drifting away, leaving my children in confusion. There was another factor, too. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, I bumped into an old friend from college, Jessica, 42F. She had moved to Tokyo after marrying, but 2 years ago, her husband died in a tragic accident, so she returned to the States to resume her teaching job. Back in college, Jessica and I had a special connection. Unofficially a thing. We were always together, playful and affectionate. After college, we lost touch. Seeing her again felt like encountering a ghost from my past, but we clicked instantly. Conversation flowed naturally, as if no time had passed. Over coffee, Jessica told me about her losses. She had no children, having suffered 2 miscarriages. She was sad but not broken. She was resilient. We exchanged numbers and stayed in touch. After a few meetings, I confided in her about Megan's affair. Jessica asked why I was holding on to my marriage. She believes in accepting reality and moving on. Her perspective helped me realize that clinging to this marriage wasn't healthy for me or my children. Still, I hesitated. If I initiate the divorce now, Megan might blame Jessica, calling her a homewrecker. I don't want that. Jessica isn't at fault here. She's been supportive, but never pushed me into anything romantic. I just don't want my wife's infidelity and my delayed decision to reflect badly on Jessica. Update 1. Thanks for all your comments. I know it took me a while to update, but there was too much going on. Let me break it down step by step. After my initial post, I spent some time thinking and realized that the sooner I ended this, the better it would be for everyone. Me, my children, and even Megan. Things weren't beyond fixing for my kids and me. One night, when my children headed to a friend's place for a sleepover, I decided to talk to Megan. It had been a year since I moved out of our bedroom after a huge fight. Megan never bothered to fix that situation, which spoke volumes. When I got home, Megan was in the bedroom. I knocked and asked if we could talk. She came out, and I got straight to the point. I told her I was filing for divorce and that we should inform the children. I expected her to be relieved or at least neutral since I knew about her affair. But her reaction surprised me. She asked, why? What happened all of a sudden? Did you find someone else? She repeated this accusation. Oh, you found someone. I almost raised my voice, telling her to stop acting innocent. I knew about her affair with Brian. Why was she pretending to be clueless? Shouldn't she feel relieved that now she could be with him openly? She froze, then her face crumpled. She broke down and cried, saying it was never meant to be serious, just a fling. She blamed a midlife crisis, calling it a distraction from her own crankiness. She insisted she loved me and the children and never intended to truly hurt us. I reminded her that a fling doesn't last over a year, and if she treasured the marriage so much, she wouldn't have let me sleep outside our bedroom for a year nor distance herself from the children. She kept apologizing, saying she should have ended it long ago. I told her it was too late. If she truly wanted to fix this, she would have tried earlier. Now I was done. The conversation dragged on until midnight with her crying, pleading, and making promises. I realized we'd be stuck like this all night. I called her aunt, Linda, to come over. Megan was close to her aunt, and I needed someone to help calm her down. Linda arrived in about 20 minutes, and Megan confessed everything to her. Linda tried talking me out of the divorce, but I had already moved on emotionally. I told them I no longer loved Megan the way I once did. Her betrayal and aloofness had changed her in my eyes. Linda took Megan with her. Megan was in no state to talk to the kids. The next day, I told the children their mom was at their aunt's for a few days. They understood what was happening. About a week later, Linda called, asking me to bring the kids over so we could explain the separation to them. She had kept in touch with me over the week, updating me on Megan's deteriorating mental and physical health, trying to convince me to reconsider the divorce. I drove over with the kids. As soon as we began discussing the separation, the children said they knew it was coming and were glad we were finally acknowledging it. We reassured them of our love and that we'd always prioritize them. I was surprised at their maturity. I suggested Megan and I divorce amicably. There's no point in wasting money on lawyers. We don't have substantial property to fight over. The joint accounts and other assets can be split. The kids are old enough to choose where they want to stay. Megan still pleaded for another chance. She said she quit her job and cut off all contact with Brian. I made it clear that reconciliation was not possible. The divorce proceedings are now underway and we will share custody of the kids. As for Jessica, I agree with those who said I shouldn't rush into another relationship. Jessica also thinks I need time. She doesn't want to be labeled a homewrecker. We still text and talk on the phone, or we're avoiding in-person meetings until I finalize the divorce and sort out my feelings. I don't want to use her as a rebound. For now, the kids and I remain in our home while Megan stays with Linda. Megan's still crying and attending therapy sessions. I sometimes feel pity for her, but I can't help her now. That ship has sailed. Thank you for reading, and thanks for joining me on this journey. If you enjoyed this story, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you don't miss future updates. Until next time.